Hey everybody, it's Bust, and today we're playing the All Commons Twist with Jade Rogue. And so in our previous video, I thought we were getting close to being in this space where we were starting to get some advantages over top of the Dragon Warrior deck, and as time goes on, I just feel worse and worse and worse about those kind of statements. But the thing that I thought we could take towards the Dragon deck was just being a little bit slower than them, right? And a very easy way to just be slower than them is bringing the Jade package, which we're bringing here with the Jade Swarmer, the Jade Shuriken, and the Jade Spirit, but being a little bit greedier with the ways to shuffle those Jade units back into your deck so that you could get the big Jade chains, start making 8/8s and 9/9s and 10/10s and the like, and using that as your means of overtaking the Dragon's decks. But in practice, I didn't find that to actually be successful. I couldn't get that to work out. I dropped tons and tons of LP or whatever we call it in the space of Hearthstone, and just had to kind of move away from Jade Rogue as the all-in kind of aspect. I didn't think it was very good. But over the course of the brewing, I feel like there was a couple of things that did really stand out and really shine as being quite strong against the Dragon Warrior style of decks, and ways to pick up some advantages there. And so the two ways I think that we're really going to have to approach beating that deck while still being good against the remainder of the format is playing decks that use both Fungalmancer and Bonemare. I think the stat bonuses that we get out of these units give us the opportunity to overcome the opposing dragons. They do come out the gates pretty slow, especially if they don't have the 4/4 dragon that reduces the cost of all the ones in hand. And the Fungalmancer Bonemare give us great ways to build up a bigger board than they're really able to stop. Since the warrior decks do tend to lack interactivity. It's basically just execute, slam, and warpath. And if they don't have the warpath, they aren't particularly good at stopping you from getting wider than them. The other interesting kind of aspect of the format is going to be the Street Trickster. This is the thing that gives me a little bit of worry with this deck. Now, on the upside, I feel like Street Trickster probably has a place in the OTK style of decks within this meta. You should be able to OTK down warriors if you're really looking to devote yourself to this, right? If they're not able to really get online and running until turn 8 or turn 9 or so, and you're able to develop just the big Street Trickster OTK with whatever faction you're using, right? If you're using Rogue and using the Razorpetals, or using Mage, or using Shaman for the burn spells, whatever, feels like you should be able to develop OTKs that the warrior deck isn't able to beat. Now, we do have the Street Trickster within this deck. I do want to call it out as being in here as more of a value play. We aren't really aiming to just build up to that, right? We aren't trying to build up to that big Malygos OTK to where we just 20-0 the opponent in one turn. This is within this deck is more of just a value play as to where we'll put it on board. It's very easy to remove. Maybe we get an enhanced Fan of Knives, and then we get an enhanced Razorpetal, and then the unit is just kind of done. Now, the place I was saying this gives me a little bit of worry is one of the places we talked about a lot in terms of Legends of Runeterra deck building was half-assing things, right? We don't want to come out and half-ass a deck. We don't want it to be the Fungalmancer Bonemare deck and the Street Trickster deck and the Shadowstep deck and all of these different decks trying to pull off within the same thing. We really want to be whole-assing one strategy. And I worry that starting to include cards like Street Trickster in here does get us more into that space to where we're half-assing the deck instead of whole-assing it, but I feel like it does at least have a reasonable place within this version that we're playing here today. And it's worth a consideration for future videos as having a full-on build-around kind of aspect to the spell damage type units. And so as far as this deck goes, in terms of some oddities or things you may not normally see, we are packing the full Jade package. We made mention of it. We have the little bit of early game value plan with the Pharaoh Cat and the Swashburglar, and then we are looking to build up that white board, be it with the value generating units or something like the Evil Miscreant to get the lackeys going, and then get the big boosts with the Fungalmancer and the Bonemare. It's a very board-centric style of deck to where we can hopefully control the opposing units with the small plays and the removal spells, built up to a big Fungalmancer and a big Bonemare, and then once we're able to get these very efficient stat-based units onto the board, just overtake the more curve-oriented style of decks that we look to be running up against as far as the Dragon's deck goes. And so this is it. That's what we're doing battle with today. I think I figured out how to come out and pay to win with this thing. I'm not certain how long we'll be able to do it, but I, I think that we nailed it. Right, you just click on the card and hit upgrade. So we've got that one premium copy of the Jade Swarmer now. I think that's how it works. Turn premium up here at the top right. So I think we're good to go. All right, let's jump on into battle. All right, so off we go. We'll have to keep monitoring that pay to win price. It was very easy to do in Runeterra, just getting the prismatic things all of the time, the prismatic gems or whatever they were called, and then it was a little bit cheaper to just outright purchase them. Right, it was like $1 for the cheap ones. That was kind of like whatever. I don't know what the conversion rate is to Shroot Nickels to Stanley Bucks to to Hearthstone gems to Legends of Runeterra gems, and so. Maybe it's a thing, maybe it's not, I don't know. But nonetheless, jumping in, we're up against the wonderful Dragon Warrior deck, I would assume, here at the start. We'll hang on to the Swashburglar, try and find some other cheaper plays, just start kicking off with a curve right from the beginning. All right, Swashburglar, what do you got for us? Something delightful, I'm sure. Not quite what we were hoping for. The one cost unit isn't exactly it. Now it does give us a bit of help on turn 3, right? If we're going to look to make a Jade Shuriken play, then having the sharpshooter does let us have the 1 mana spell for that. But it's kind of a bummer with how this is sorting out. I mean, I guess we did get to soak his coin, right? He had to coin to get the flunky onto board. Now we get the free hit onto our Swashburglar if he wants it, but not really how I was planning on this going out. Oh, cool, he takes the greedy route. I can appreciate that. Our life total doesn't really matter. Here, we'll switch into the Pharaoh Cat, though. Picking up the reborn minion can be a little bit more important than getting this dumb sharpshooter on the board. Who did we hit? Just the reborn mech. I've got to high roll into that rush reborn a few times, and that always feels pretty good. gotta like doing that. But we've got board. We shifted away our Fungalmancer. This is the kind of spot we'd really like to see him. And it seems like opponent has a bit of a slower draw here. All right, let's get on board. Get the Miscreant in. Both the Miscreant and the Sharpshooter should be safe from something like Warpath, given that they have so much health. So I feel a little bit safer in that space. I think we can probably start chipping in with the weapon as well. I mean, we don't really have anything to do in our hand for the next couple of turns until we get to Bonemare for turn 7, turn 8. And so let's just chip it in. There's a very reasonable chance we're going to be using the hero power before turn 7. All right, now our hand does kind of suck in the face of the Sword Eater. We could look to rush the Shotbot. I mean, is there a realistic chance that he just doesn't have Warpath given the way that this game has gone? I think there is. But the other angle we have would be to just go ahead and transform the Miscreant and then give the Miscreant rush off of the upgrade. Maybe I'm a little bit more on board with that. We should have dealt that point of damage first. Little whoopsies. Yeah, just get all these units on board, and it's starting to get scary. You gotta worry about that AOE coming in. What better place to be than all in? Am I right? So if he's got the Warpath, we'll just concede. But I feel like on the previous turn that was a decent spot for it. I mean, I guess our stat line wasn't that big. But yeah, now that he's attacked down the 5/1, he 100% does not have it. All right, so we are a little bit light on mana this turn. Kind of is what it is. I think we want to just start to spew here, like the Plague Scientist into the Shield Master. That's close. It's like I would like to save the Shadowstep for a turn later. So I'm leaning towards just like eviscerating eviscerating face, and then playing the Plague Scientist. So a couple of turns from now, we might get a little bit of a better Shadowstep. Alright, and then we gotta hang on to our sword thing. This could have been a turn where we attacked and hero powered back up if we wanted to take the Shadowstep angle, but I don't think the mana was going to work out there. Alright. Rip Plague, bro. You tried. You tried. Ooh, Backstab's interesting. Let us just get in here on the cheap. So let's give up the Pharaoh Cat. Or actually here, that's interesting. Like, we're getting rid of the rush guy 100%. The question is like, we're going to Shadowstep one of these units. Which one do we want to keep? Probably don't need the lackey. Oh, we just had the lethal. LOL. I mathed that up pretty good, huh? Mathed that real good. Alright, GG. On to the next one. Ooh, that's always a struggle. I miss the days of just putting all of your attackers out and looking at the Oracle's eye. I get why it doesn't work in Hearthstone with the way the attack sequences work, but if you weren't familiar with Legends of Runeterra, you attacked a net like you attacked in Magic, to where you just put all your units forward, and then it just added it up for you. It told you how much damage you were going to do, so you didn't have to actually sit around and count and figure it out. And as the followers of the channel know, I am horrible at math, and so typically come in and struggle with spaces like that. But another game, another Dragon Warrior. See if we can't have a little bit of success in this one. We'll kick it off with the Pharaoh Cat. See if we can't just find a cheap Reborn unit to add down here early. Which one is this? Lifesteal Reborn. Not spectacular in this match, but not the worst. Interesting. And so I was going to say, the thing here to me is going to be, when do we want to come down and drop the coin? Like, I don't really want to coin an evil Miscreant, although I do kind of like coining into the Ancestral Guardian. And so I think we're fine to just keep playing units. So we'll get Dum Dum down. Uji hit terrible Battlecry thing. We'll get the Swarmer down. Now on this next turn, we'll just look to, say, coin into this Ancestral Guardian or coin into the Jade Spirit, depending on what opponent puts on the board. And a Lasher. I don't think the Lasher changes anything. I like getting this 4-2 down.
Your presence offends me.
Gotta come in and gain these armors. That's the way life's about to go. Alright, so we got to get this guy off of the board. A little unfortunate this way, but... Oh shit, we just fucked that up, huh? Oops. I meant to be casting the Razorpetal this turn. Shit. That math thing coming back to bite us in the ass, huh? Hopefully it's okay. Like, I feel like... I don't know. It's kind of tough for me to gauge where the opponent would be standing in terms of warpathing, given that, you know, these units all kind of suck. And so it's not like he's at serious risk of dying, but I don't know, units like Fungalmancer do really start to bring those questions forward. So all right, let's go and face. I don't really care about these units, but we don't want to spread out the executes, and so we'll put the attack onto the unit that's already damaged. So He doesn't get to pick and choose who he takes down. And then we'll see from here. We can start getting the Jades going. Here's the Warpath. I mean, a triple Warpath still means his dragon dies to the Razorpetal. So I would say that we just planned it this way. Planned it. I don't think we want to Shadowstep just yet. Let's just stop here. It's not super likely that he has the removal for it. He's already played that dude that generates the 3/2 weapon. And so it's like he needs either a slam execute, he needs another card that he's already played one copy of, or something along those lines. It just feels like we should be able to get the attack in with this Jade thing, if we even want to play it at this point, right? We're probably just going to be Bonemaring next turn anyways, and so we have some time to build up into that Jade. We'll keep him around. Still no Shadowstep, though. Maybe we should Shadowstep now that he has 8 mana and he can play that giant Titan thing that deals 4 damage to 2 units. Maybe that would have made a little bit more sense to Shadowstep the guy this turn. So that I don't know, the 4/10, whatever he does that deals 4 damage to the 2 guys, just has a bad round this turn, right? If he spends all of his mana putting that guy down, and all it does is 4 damage to Bonemare and not get a kill, like, that doesn't sound particularly good for the opponent. So maybe that would have been an okay space. All right, now Trickster turns up. We'll have to start to consider what our burn is able to do for us. Let's do this. Let's lead off with the Shadowstep. We'll drop the Miscreant to see who turns up. I would say like 100% of the time we're just going to replay the Jade Spirit anyways. We did hit the rush guy. We want to go ahead and take this dragon off of the board. Let's see what happens. The 2-cost minion should have a pretty good chance of making a 2-attack unit. Yeah, random Bloodsail Raider. Now we can use the Raider to take down the dragon. And then we should be pretty close. Got to come up with 15. Have 5 damage in hand. Maybe. Maybe. But it's definitely a better board in terms of, I don't know, that Dragon Terror. Like, it's the only one that actually gives me any pause. Like, I'm not worried about the damage that it's capable of doing to us, just as much as it's able to get the clear on the board and prevent the damage that we're able to deal. What you got? Wow. There's the Tyrant. Nice. Oh, I was gonna say, is it gonna finish off onto the 1/1 for just the perfect hits across the board? Not quite. Not quite. That's too bad. So who do we have? Give a minion 3 health and gain 3 armor. Card's shitty. I don't want that. Let's just go ahead and fan. We're looking for units here. That Trickster is going to build up into an OTK style of turn. All right, Miscreant can come in. Who did we hit? Discover a dragon and a random 2. All right, let's just go for the most face damage we can. Very close to the lethal. An Eviscerate would do it, a Razorpetal Lasher would do it, another Jade Shuriken would do it. You still got a lot on board to deal with. Seems okay. Drop the bark skin, you know, give a minion 3 health. So that's what we're out here looking to do. Yeah, whatever. I was curious if we were going to be in the space to where we could have the dragon thing on board. We had the Death Rattle 2/2 a dragon in hand while we have the Discover a Dragon guy on board. I thought we might have been able to achieve something there. Didn't quite come together. Let's see, discover a dragon. What do we got? Do we want the big old whelp for the card draw, or do we want the removal spell here? His units on board aren't capable of taking down the whelp, and I do kind of like the idea of just digging for another burn. Like, we're so close to finishing the game off. There's the Shuriken. So we're close. We can do that next turn. I think we're in good shape. There's the bark skin. There's the plays that matter. Protect that big old dragon boy. So you got to spend 2 units to take this guy down. All right, so far so good. I would assume he's probably going to hero power. If he doesn't have a taunt, we can still kill through the hero power, so that's a bonus. All right. Rip. GG. Market a W for bust. Yeah, man. I've been piecing it together in my head that we're going to come out and just play Street Trickster OTK in one of these upcoming videos, and it's not a deck that I ever like. I don't have the capacity to play decks like that. It's something that like we'll make a video on it. So if you're not familiar with the idea, if you're not familiar with the concept, or you haven't seen the deck, you can see a few reps of it run through. But it's like I always have to play those games with the disclaimer. We're gonna play bad. Like it's a lot of compounding badness in this current format of me being back to being new to Hearthstone, along with playing OTK decks. So we'll definitely have to see how that plays itself out. Nonetheless, reasonable start here. Like I don't think I want. It's interesting, right? Like I'm not amped about double backstabs since we tend to just like run out of stuff to do. Right? There's not a ton of like must hit targets coming out of the opposing rogue deck, so having the double removal isn't that big of a deal. But we do have the 2 Jades in hand, which gives us a bit of makeup value for if we spew off these backstabs onto some smaller units. Maybe we shouldn't keep any of them. I'm curious about that. I'd have to play this matchup more. Just like, what do we want to kill with a backstab, right? There's no directly important units coming out of this deck. It's just We'll continue to play at it. But otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, these matchups tend to be a bit of a grind fest, and so interesting. I don't want to waste cards if we don't have to. There's the good one. That's the one I like within this, the Reborn Rush unit.
Here we go.
All right, we'll just keep hero powering. I feel like we're already like a little bit ahead on board. We got some good value cards in hand. Doesn't seem like we're quite at risk of, you can give up on value at a certain point just to go and kind of OTK your opponent. It doesn't feel like this guy is really in that OTK kind of space. He seems kind of far away from actually killing us. Now, it is a bummer with this Restless Mummy. I think we're going to have to send it into his 4/4, right? We don't have enough board to take it down. It's like leaving the Reborn back with only the 1 health kind of sucks. So maybe he'll send in face here and have to waste that mana next turn, but that would strike me as kind of an odd play. Alright, see if we can't start to turn the corner from here. This is where we're going to be looking to play a Jade Spirit and a coin and an Eviscerate next turn. Oh, wow. He's just not adding to board. But the curve we're really looking at is to Jade Spirit into Eviscerate. I guess it doesn't have to be this turn. It could be next turn to where we start to pull it off. But we definitely want to get Fungalmancer and we want to get Bonemare down with the 2 units without losing anybody along the way. Shadowstep's a game changer, though. I think we can just spew out the Jades at this point. Just we have so many options at this point between the Fan of Knives letting us attack up, or just playing Fungalmancer, then going Fungalmancer into Bonemare. Just like we have the world in our hands right now. So an interesting thing with the Fungalmancer is, do we want to make the 2 5/5s, or do we want to make a 5/5 and a 4/4, but keep the Jade Spirit a little bit more accessible? I think that, you know, given that we've already played one Shadowstep and don't have a ton of other, like, we don't have the cycling things in our deck to where you shuffle stuff in. We aren't playing gang up style cards. So I don't think that we're really interested in protecting this Jade Spirit. But now I don't like the Fungalmancer as much, especially since we picked up the Shuriken. I'm looking to say Fan. Let's see what we hit. Another unit, that's kind of cool. I guess we should play our cat first. It's interesting if the cat should even come down. This is going to prevent us from hero powering at this point. And I mean, I guess as, you know, we were playing the Trickster cards, there is the opportunity for opponent to also be playing Trickster and then just being like, LOL, here's the OTK. Right? He has 1 Razorpetal in hand at this point, and so 18 isn't completely off the table. But I don't think he's done enough setup at this point. I guess it could be like Trickster, double Eviscerate, Razorpetal, and that would be pretty close. What's that, like 8, 10, 16? So maybe we should have been like a little bit more cautious with our health total. But now that he's played like a value Trickster instead of a face Trickster, I think we're in a little bit better shape. Get that guy the hell out of here, right? Say no thank you. No thank you, guy. That guy is so scary. I gotta think we're getting close. See if we can't get the lifesteal guy on board. I think if he gets to connect in combat, then we should be pretty well set. Although, I mean, opponent does have a lot more cards in hand than us. We need to be finishing this thing off.
At last, a worthy foe.
Interesting. So he goes for the Treant thing, and then he also thought about just making a value play onto the face. These do, friendly minion dies, return it, copy all of our cards, and then when a minion attacks your hero, attack a neighbor. When we get the lethal in this turn, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 in hand, 18 with the Eviscerate, 19 is what comes up with that, so we're a little bit short. Let's lead off with this attack into face. Okay. So I don't think we really want to play for board. Like, if he's going to have an Assassinate, I think it's still going to be pretty challenging for him to kill us, right? He's got 4, 6, 8, 9 on board, and Eviscerate would take him up to 13. So we'd need like an Assassinate, an Eviscerate, and a Razorpetal to get the kill. I don't completely buy that. So I'm thinking that we just want to like Bonemare our dude and go face. Uh-oh, he says the well played. See if that GG's gonna hit us right in the nugget. Got some Razor Petals. Discard for the turn. Is this going to be assassinate into the Razor Petals into the double Eviscerate? I think we have to be fine, right? If he's trying to take down our taunt unit. I don't know, man. He just spent a whole bunch of burn on our board. Are we really dead at this point? Is he winning this board? No way he's winning this board. Maybe he is. Oh my god. Maybe that was too greedy. He still seems a little bit short. He's only got one card in hand. Is that something either from Arcane Intellect? Oh, he's got a Razor Petal. So that's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 14 or so is what he naturally has.
Your presence offends me.
All right, let's try that. There's just so few cards you can draw on this point to actually get the lethal. Has to just be like an Eviscerate or be a damage.
Your presence offends
Sure. All right, I think we're good. Got to do a little cheek squeezing. get them cheeks right together, but at the end of the day, we're good to go. All right. Mark it a W for bust. Oof. A little bit of cheek squeezing. But yeah, you could see with that opponent having like the Razor Petal volleys in hand, like I think he probably just got a little bit aggressive with his Trickster. I mean, maybe we had the lethal if he didn't put the Trickster on the board, but you could see that turn to where I guess he was probably like one damage short and had to spend all of his burn on our units instead of our face. I think that was, pretty telling to if you're going to let these games drag on. These street tricksters can just develop those OTKs pretty easily, and so it's definitely something I want to investigate. Now with this, do we want to get the Swarmer going on the first turn, since if we want a Shuriken on 3 and to say like the Lifesteal Dragon? We miss out on 2 points of damage playing the Swarmer this turn instead of later, but it does guarantee that we get the we get the combo for the Shuriken. It's like with every point of damage mattering so much, missing out on those couple points early does kind of suck.
Reporting for duty.
This is a very top tier target on board in the in the Netherspite Historian to be throwing shurikens at. I don't know. This is one I don't feel very confident in our angles. Maybe we should have just put the Street Trickster down and played it a little bit slower. It's like I start to see this curved where it's like, all right, well, we have the Jade Spirit and the Fungalmancer, and we get to curve out that way. But this game's going to drag on for a while. Like the Paladin version of these decks have like these lifesteal dum-dums and then the random dragon that just gains 8 health or something. And so, we're going to be here a while. I think it's pretty safe to say. But very good Fungalmancer board. See how it reacts. what's it called? His Consecrate doesn't look very good here. Say a little thank you.
Thank you.
I miss the emotes so much. Like that is, it's like you don't think too much of the emotes within LOR as being that big of a deal, but when you come over here, and it's like you only have access to these random bits of text, like you can't show your emotions in the way that it's meant to be done. Kind of a bummer. All right, I guess we'll still take this angle. If he has the rush Divine Shield Dragon to take down our Jade Spirit, that kind of sucks. You know, we would really like to be able to attack a unit and then, yeah, I was gonna say we want to be able to attack a unit, get a value hit, and then swap out, right, with the Shadowstep, but not quite a possibility here now that we've lost our dude. I'd like to think that we can save our Shadowstep for this Fungalmancer. Let's do this. Let's get the Taunt Reborn guy in. We'll get our evil Miscreant in. And then this should put us in a spot to where we can kind of decide if we want to like Shadowstep the Fungalmancer, or if we want to play, if we pick up like the transform thing. Like we have some options out there that way as well. It gives us a shot. It kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. We're still winning on board, but
That was a mistake.
see where that gets us, I guess. Do we ever want to go ahead and Shadowstep any of this stuff? I just kind of spewed out here pretty quick. I guess we can Shadowstep the Lasher next turn if we really want to kick back up to that 8 damage. And we don't need to immediately run it out.
The dragons come.
Alright, don't care about that thing.
Looks like I'm here to
There's the gain health guy. That's pretty annoying.
by the holy light.
So where are we at here? We're at 5, 9. If we Shadowstep again, that gets us to 13, 14 with a lackey, 15 with the knife. We 1 damage short. Five, 9. Shadowstep is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, we're 1 short. I mean, do we just have to YOLO it here? I'm kind of leaning towards yes. Like, if we play for board, we're never going to come back.
Here we go.
So I'm just going to spew. I want to make sure we get all of this bonus damage out of our units, so that if he does have a kill for the Trickster next turn, then we're not completely dead. And so, you know, not the greatest of chances of finishing here. If he gets to kill off 3 of our units and have a heal, then we're probably done for. He has a taunt, we're probably done for, but like just killing these things is never going to get us a victory, and so
Your feeble magic amuses me.
so we're down to the burn spell plan.
For duty.
That is some of the downside to not keeping a card in hand, as we can't do any combos at this point. And if, as I say, if we pick up the Plague Scientist, we couldn't use it either. I'm kind of leaning towards just keeping the Call the Finishers in hand. So if we do need a combo next turn, we have something. Like if we need to call the Finishers into... oh, we just dead? Okay, we're just dead. They say if we need to call the Finishers into like the Lackey generator. But man, that's what I'm talking about in terms of that not playing that unit on the first turn. Those points of damage really add up. I know you'll play a lot of games to where it seems very irrelevant, but those are the kind of plays and choices that you make that take you up from, a 55% win rate to a 57% win rate, and really make the difference between hanging out in the dumpster and hanging out in mid-masters or mid-masters to high masters. It's being able to kind of figure out those things. And that's the thing. It took me like quite a while in Runeterra to really get there. I feel like it took me about a year to where I felt like I was competitively viable, from where we played 500 expeditions, right? I'm very good at drafting. Like I felt like while I would have to play against like a lot of higher quality players, like if I was playing against someone like Mage and Bay, I felt like I would have had like a really strong shot in a limited format because I'm very good at drafting and he's unfortunately not. And like I can really kind of carry in that space, but switching over into constructed to where everyone's just gets to bring your own deck. It's a whole new ball game, and so it's tough for me to make the switch. But nonetheless, I don't remember if this was the same guy. I'm going to assume that we're up against Dragon Paladin again. And we'll hang on to the Jade Swarmer and look for some other cheaper plays in the early game here. We can run out this Swarmer on turn 1 and see if we feel any different about it. I guess the difference between this hand, though, and the last one is we like having the Backstab Miscreant. Did we keep the Backstab in that last one? The Backstab game was the Rogue game, to where we were really trying to decide if we wanted to hang on to Backstab, and so not exactly apples to apples there, but we do have access to the Backstab Miscreant on 3, and so we don't need to hang on to the card to make sure that we can get it on the board with the combo. And then it was surprising earlier. I remember what an exciting day it was for the Legends of Runeterra community when Rarin started playing LOR just a little bit. I don't remember entirely what his thing was, but I feel like he came over to LOR and played a couple of days. And since he has such a large following at Hearthstone, it gave a lot of hope that it would bring some more interest over to the game. We played against him earlier. One, of course. It was all of the LOR skills coming together, but it's wild. Like I was always excited when Mogwai was running around, at least in terms of trying to be a content creator. I always kind of ran around with the space that, if you're going to watch Mega Mogwai as your kind of content entertainment for the day, but you need 8 hours of content while you're at work and he only streams for 4. Then as you're looking for something else to do, then it's like, yeah, we're here, you can drop me a view if you want. And so I always thought it was very positive having those people around. And so it was nice to see him, see Rarin come into the space of LOR, even though he didn't full time it. All right, back to this game here. Opponent's playing slow, so we have plenty of time to talk about stuff. Reasonable hit on the lackeys. This is just the kind of spot where we really need to hit a Fungalmancer, but the Plague Scientist is capable of doing quite a bit of work here as well. He's one that we haven't really talked about, that you don't see a ton running around, right? As we have these boards to where we're just like, oh yeah, we just get annihilated by Warpath. The kind of flip side to that is if your opponent is in the space to where they're just like, well, here's my 7 mana taunt, and you're able to take down their giant taunt unit off of a Plague Scientist. It's a very strong tempo play. Also lets you set up some things. The matchup here, I'm not super excited about it, but if you have like a stealth Jade Swarmer on the board and load it up with poison and just have that poison unit hanging out, very powerful thing against decks without AoE, or decks that can't handle a silence. Is this guy a bot? Are we just gonna... Are we thinking on this that hard? All right, so we pick up Fan. I don't really want to Eviscerate. I think I kind of want to build up the Eviscerate Trickster while we have access to it in hand. I'm leaning towards just adding both of our lackeys, and then using the 2 damage from the lackey, the swarmer, and the knife to take down the dragon. Let's do the discover first, and then just save the eviscerate for the burn plant. Here, I think I like the evasive worm. And then we'll keep the stats on the miscreant. There is a world to where he's able to get some interesting hits in with the poison. So if he takes down a 4/4 with the poison and then he's just lingering as a 1/1 poison unit, it seems a little bit more relevant to me than just having the swarmer sitting on board still. Let's stop and think for a bit now. Give me Nosdormu mode. That's what we want more than anything. I consecrate and
Reporting for duty.
what do we got? I mean, are we just gonna start loading up tricksters? I'm not completely opposed to it. I guess we really prefer to have a second spell to run around with them, but our hand doesn't do anything else.
Here we go.
Just start getting those 5 damage Fana knives, and that's that's when shit starts to get real. Now, the thing that does give me a little bit of interest in Trickster with this style of deck, right, is I talked about half-assing it at the beginning. The thing that can be relevant with him is that, it's still a valid target for Bonemare, and it's still a valid target for Fungalmancer, and, generating a 4/11 taunt can give some decks a lot of fits, and so he does have some interesting potentials around, even if it doesn't quite come together in that expected path of attacks with your 0 attack unit. Ooh, I thought that was going to be scary. I thought he was going to have a way to send the Divine Shield unit into our Trickster and have a bonus attack on it, so he gets the kill and he gets to preserve the Divine Shield. Doesn't seem like he has it.
Move quickly.
Now in this space, we do have our own dragon in hand, which I think we want to send. We have to start, getting in that mindset that 8-cost dragon's going to be coming down soon. It's just like, as this game drags on, we're not really doing anything here. We'll see where that gets us. I mean, if he starts building board, we just like having the second Trickster plus the fan means we should be able to clear anything out, but I'm not out here trying to play a value game against this guy. We need to fucking finish. We're never going to outvalue this dude. And so, like, getting these little dragon hits in does not make me feel that great about what's happening. But we do still have the opportunity for some interesting build-up here. Like, if he plays a big unit that we're able to take down with Backstab, and then we're able to still, like, Bonemare for the turn and then have 3 units that can survive the 4 damage thing, that makes me feel pretty decent about how things are going, right? Under the idea that we can Backstab for 4, strike with the knife for 1, maybe kill a dragon that way, and then have the 5 health Bonemare, a 7 health Evasive Worm, 7 health Street Trickster. We survive the big units pretty well that way.
Move quickly.
We got some dragon stuff coming in. Alright, well, I think I'm on board. We could fan, see what turns up. Backstab dum-dum here. Now, do we want to start churning out spells? Like, getting a 2/2 Jade isn't that impressive. But what are we at? 15 plus 6? Kinda close to a lethal. Not enough of a lethal, though.
Here we go.
All right, let's see where that lands. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll get up to the lethal. But right, 8 and 7's 15. 15 plus 6 is like 21. We can get to 22 with the strike, 24 with the Razorpetal if he doesn't kill any of our dudes and doesn't do anything important. So he's gotta do something here. Corruptor, sure. There's a Lasher. Do we have enough mana for all this? 3, 4, yeah. Cast some spells, get some OTKs. GG, my dude. And so nice, we got to we got to hit it from all of the angles there. Feels pretty good. Nice game 5. We can pull this up, talk about it a little bit more. And so, you know, a little bit of a more successful day against the Dragons decks. We suffered against the Dragons a little bit in the previous video with our Priest deck, but we're able to we played it 4 times, right? We played it 4 times in the mirror match once, and then went 3-1 against the Dragons and won the mirror. And so, not a bad round. But as far as the deck goes, you see what I'm talking about with the Street Trickster. I think that's the big key to the things that are happening around here. And as it, like looking at that last game, that is how we got the kill, right? Using the Street Trickster along with the 4 burn spells to get the finish. But we did go like 3 or 4 turns to where we didn't do fuck all except have Street Tricksters on the board. And it's tough for me to really kind of visualize if it's worthwhile enough to keep units like Street Trickster in here, to where you could be saying in that space, like, well, if this was just like literally any attacking style unit, right? If this was any kind of somewhat on theme 3-drop, would we be in that kind of same space where we're able to take the game over or not? And so it's like, as far as this deck goes, I'm leaning towards I'm okay with it, right? Since we do have the activators like Fungalmancer, we have the activators like Bonemare to potentially give it some stats, right? We can then find random cards off of Swashburglars. We can find random spells off of the lackeys that we can then also tie back into the Street Trickster. And so I don't think it's fair to say that this deck is half-assing it. I feel like it has enough combos with the Trickster to where it doesn't feel like it's a dead card very often. And so, you know, it's a definite bonus there, definite upside. Otherwise, you know, as far as this deck goes, the thing to me that you could look to change, add, consider moving around would be the Plague Scientist. I could definitely see taking out Plague Scientists and adding in either another value card, like something that generates another card, or look to add in something like Razorpetal Volley, and then give you more opportunities to play towards that big OTK, right? As you could see in that last game, opponent was, you know, clearly winning on board, but he was also falling into that space to where we could develop OTKs because he wasn't going to kill us for like another 4 or 5 turns, right? And so having access to those Razor Petals and kind of having a back end draw to those Street Tricksters and developing that into the Dragon decks might be a way to really kind of come in and approach this format. Nonetheless, good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that's going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope maybe learned a thing or two along the way. I had a good time watching. This is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.